Looks like the sun beat me home second time this week. Wish the more would've stuck around, cause we all have somewhere to go. Wish I could say what I mean, but there's always someone listening and filling in the blanks.
I'd like to welcome to Mostly Folk a great artist whose album I really was only introduced to. And her name is Frankie Raye. And Frankie has been performing in the New York City area. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to let Frankie tell you about her background, where she started, and what she's doing right now. Frankie's new album is titled Brave. And it's not a brand new album. It was recorded a while ago. But tell me about the number one, the album, number two, your upbringing and what got you interested in music, and if you do anything else. There's a million questions I have for you. So let's talk about number one. Where did you grow up?
I actually grew up in the middle of cornfields. I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, actually a little town called Greenville, a little bit north of Dayton, Ohio. And this is a very, very small town. Doesn't evolve much. It's kind of like you feel like you're going back in time when you're in this town. So Greenville, Ohio is where I grew up. The town of Greenville, Ohio is really small, and it's just surrounded by cornfields. So it's very humble. It's very small. It's very homey, old-timey kind of feeling. Like a lot of the buildings have been there, forever. Nothing really new gets built there. So it's definitely a precious little town that's stuck in time. So that's where I got to grow up.
Neat. And what did you do? I mean, well, not as a kid, but growing up as a kid, were your parents, did they have a farm or?
No, we just lived in the area. They didn't really have a farm, but my mother was actually a musician, but she was more of kind of a weekend musician in her life. And I grew up in a very musical family. My dad was a musician. My mom was a musician. Aunts, uncles, everyone played in bands. So I got to grow up, every family reunion was just music. Everyone had their guitars out and everyone was singing and dancing and harmonizing. And so growing up, it was really cool growing up in that environment.
What kind of music did they sing?
They mostly did a lot of cover stuff. I know in the 80s, my mom was in a really popular cover band in the area, and they did everything from, Beatles to Gloria Estefan and Whitney Houston and a lot of popular 80s tunes at the time. And then my dad was a drummer and a guitarist, so he played in the band as well. And they just would tour all around Ohio, playing at events and weddings and country clubs and things like that.
So I guess it goes without saying that this was your influence, this atmosphere that you grew up in influenced you to be performing. When did you pick up a guitar?
I was around really young, probably like 11 or 12, just because I had seen my mother play guitar and my dad play guitar and aunts and uncles and everyone played. So I think for me growing up, it felt like it was something that everybody did. I think when I was really little, I didn't understand that not everyone plays music. I just kind of assumed, just like how you drive a car or you walk, it's something everyone does pretty much. So I thought that everyone was a musician. And then as I got older, I started, obviously seeing how other people live. And I was like, oh, this is kind of special. Not everyone has a talent to do that. So I was just inspired to keep up with it. I mean, I was born with it. I was raised with it. So I kind of felt like it was a gift that I didn't want to let go to waste. And I love it. It's my life. So
it certainly is. And so you began, who did you emulate? Aside from your family, what artists out there did you listen to growing up?
When I was younger, I listened to a lot of the stuff my mother was listening to. So Joni Mitchell was really big. I used to listen to my mom's Joni Mitchell albums all the time. And Melanie was another one, and she just passed.
Wow.
Yeah, really sad. I got to meet her a couple times too. And she actually
Wow.
lived close to the area where I live now in Florida. So that was pretty cool. She lived in Safety Harbor for a
Nice.
while. Yeah, yeah. And I remember listening to, I'd play with my mom's turntable. She would teach me how to use the turntable and put the record on there. And I would just listen to Melanie's live albums or Joni Mitchell's albums and just imagine myself doing it all the time. And I would just pretend that I was them. So when I was really young, those were my influences. And then as I got older, it was Alanis Morissette and Jewel, mostly because of their lyrics. They were just such great lyricists. And I would just read at 10 years old, I was reading through Alanis Morissette lyric books and Jewel lyric books, which probably wasn't really age appropriate for me at the time. But I just, any female singer songwriter, I just really latched onto growing
So
up.
lyrics are
Yeah.
important for you.
Yeah.
You're growing up, you have this now interest in music. What what came after that? Did you go to school? Did you go to college? Did you major in anything related to music or art?
What's crazy is in high school, I was very into music, and then when I graduated high school, for some reason, I auditioned for Berklee School of Music, and I didn't get in, and I kind of just took that as like, well, maybe I should do something more lucrative. So I went to University of South Florida. I had a few majors before settling. I did everything from business to mass communications, and I ended up graduating with an art history degree. And then, I quickly realized, well, what am I going to do with this degree? So I went back to graduate school, and I got my master's in elementary education, K through 6. So I'm certified to be. So I thought for a while, I was like, well, I guess I'll just be an elementary school teacher. And then when I was in college and in graduate school, or toward the end of my university experience, is when I started gigging out again. And I don't really know what got me into it, because I had gigged, in high school and things. And then I just took a break from doing it in college. And then I started playing at local restaurants and coffee shops. And I thought, this would be fun to do. I kind of want to change a pace. And then all of a sudden, it just kind of started snowballing. I picked up this gig one time with a drummer, and I had never played with a drummer before. A musician friend said, "Hey, I'm sick. Are you able to cover my gig tonight? Oh, and by the way, it's with this drummer. You never met him before, but you guys will be fine." But I was terrified. I was like, I've never played with a drummer. I don't think my rhythm's good enough for that. And the guy was like, "Oh, it's just this little tiny restaurant. No one's going to probably even notice you guys." So I'm like, that's good. I thought that was good. And then he and I, he's still, it's actually today's his birthday. He's still like my best friend. His name is Frank Dancy. And he and I played together, and he was just such a good drummer that even my terrible beginner, like guitar strumming, he just made it sound so good. And then we were close in age, and he said, "Oh, if you want to get more gigs, like I would love to do that," because he had just moved to Florida. So he was trying to get into the gigging game in the area. And it just kind of snowballed from there. We started sending out Facebook messages and recording videos of ourselves playing. And then we started going to open mics together. And then before I knew it, I was graduating with my master's degree. And I didn't even have time to go to my graduation because I had a gig that night. I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to walk because I've got a gig tonight. And I was like, should I try to get a job teaching because I just graduated, I have my degree, or should I see how this gigging life goes for a little while? So I chose to just see where the gigging life would take me. And for the first couple years, I was a substitute teacher while I was gigging because I didn't want to waste my degree. I felt like I'd have to do something in teaching. Yeah. But then it got to the point where I didn't even have time to substitute teach because I started gigging, 6 or 7 nights a week. And I was like, wow, I'm making way more money doing this anyway. So I just kind of kept with it.
At this point in time, were you writing your own songs or were you doing covers of other people's songs or what?
I had begun writing again. So, in high school, obviously I was always songwriting and writing new music. And then of course, during my college stint, I kind of just stopped writing songs because again, college takes up a lot of your time. So I wasn't writing as much in college, but then at this point, when I started gigging out again, I was really inspired to start really writing my own originals again. And because I had access to so many other musicians and so many people that I had met, I was learning so much about songwriting. A good friend of mine, Mike Malloy, who is an amazing pianist, he really helped me take some of my songs and just find different variations in the melody and the chord structure. And because before I had never really thought about that stuff, I just kind of wrote, whatever sounded good and to me. And he kind of was really helping me understand the structure of a song and, here's a new variation of, you can get the same kind of sound, but, let's mix it up a little bit. And I started working with other guitarists and bassists and things like that. And we all just kind of worked together. And it really helped during that time of my life. It really helped me kind of hone my songwriting craft a little bit. So, yeah.
Now, this album, by the way, I'm speaking with Frankie Raye. Her album is titled Brave. Her website is, what is it, FrankieRaye.com?
Yeah, FrankieRaye.com.
So, and that's R-A-Y-E, not R-A-Y.
Yes, R-A-Y-E.
So check out her website. It's a beautiful website. And her album is quite a beautiful album. I have to tell you, I listened to it. I listened to the songs on it, and I was blown away. I said, "Where has Frankie Raye been?" And honestly, it really is. So you are going to honor us with a couple of tunes during this interview live.
Yes,
so why don't we do one right now?
All righty. I'll go ahead and do one off of the Brave album. I'll do the opening track.
Okay, so is this Taking My Chances?
Yeah, Taking My Chances. This is the opening track. I wrote this one maybe 2016, 2017. And since we're talking about the theme of me graduating college and deciding to do music full time, this is kind of about that. I'm taking my chances and seeing where it goes. So here it is. Said you were the perfect one. They asked me how you doing, haven't seen how far you've come. You always stood one step ahead, and honestly I always wanted to be your friend. I'm taking back my pride, babe, and I'm killing the insecurities you inspired me to make. So maybe you're not that perfect at all, or maybe I'm just starting to take control. I can shine as bright as you, 'cause I've got dreams to follow too. And it's about time to get out of my own way. And it's about time to face what makes me run away. See, I've heard you loud and clear, and I'm taking my chances, 'cause they're not yours to take. Mountain's not that hard to climb. I'm miles from the top, but I'm doing just fine. So you can go ahead and keep whatever makes you as perfect as you are. And I'm gonna keep what makes me a star. I can shine as bright
'cause I've got dreams to follow too. And it's about time to get out of my own way. It's about time to face what makes me run away. See a virgin loud and clear, and I'm taking my chances, 'cause they're not yours. No, they're not yours. I'm giving it up, and I'm giving it up. See, I'm giving it up, and I'm giving it up. See, I'm giving it up, and I'm giving it up. Oh, and it's about time to get out of my own way. It's about time to face what makes me run away. See a virgin loud and clear, and I'm taking my chances, 'cause they're not yours to take. No, they're not yours to take. See a virgin loud and clear, and I'm taking my chances, 'cause they're not yours to take. No, they're not yours to take.
All right, Frankie Raye from
Thank you.
her album Brave, and that was a song titled Taking My Chances. So Frankie Raye, her album once again is titled Brave, and her website is frankieraye.com. And let's talk a little bit about, I'd like you to do another song. What's the other song you have for us?
I was going to do my latest single that I released called Foot and Mouth.
Foot and Mouth. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I released that in, do I forget? May of last year. Yeah. Or was it June?
Tell me a little bit about this song.
Foot and Mouth. This
Are
song,
you that kind of person?
Yes, I put my foot in my mouth sometimes. I wrote this song. I don't want to say that I was frustrated with music industry as a whole and where my music path was going. I don't want to say that. However, the song is kind of about accepting where you are in your journey and understanding that, you know, this is just some big, long, winding road that you're going down. And, you know, it may seem like what you're doing at the time is pointless, or like you're not getting anywhere, or you're not making it, but each small step counts in your journey. And I don't know where I'm going to end up. I don't know what'll happen to me or my music, but I know I'm going to keep doing it. And even if, you know, I don't become some, you know, like there can only be so many Taylor Swifts in the world, you know what I mean? So my goal is to just keep doing what makes me happy with my music. And the song is just about being okay with that. There's a lyric where I said, you know, what's wrong with winning second place? There's nothing wrong with that, as long as you're having fun doing what you're doing and you're staying true to yourself. And not comparing yourself to other.
That's a great attitude. As a matter, it's funny, we were speaking about the Grammys. Was it Miley Cyrus? I think it might have been Miley Cyrus that
I heard she won one.
That said, you know, people probably say, like, you know, it must be such a great feeling having won a Grammy. She said, I get that feeling every time I sing a song, every time I, you know, perform for somebody, you know, it's that same feeling. So it's nothing different than actually getting that feeling from your own art. And it has to be so rewarding. So give us that song.
Yeah, great. Foot and Mouth. This one is, like I said, it's a single, so it's not released on an album, but it is on all streaming platforms. So Spotify, iTunes, Pandora, wherever you get your music, it's on there.
Put my foot in my mouth. That's how it
these words. Any minute now you pull away, misinterpret what I say. I never see anything right, and I feel the blank stare, so I tell myself that I don't care. I mean, what good does it do? And what am I trying to prove? I ask myself, is it worth it to sit around waiting for it to go? Is it all a show? And everybody asks me where I'm going next. I'd have a plan if I could only find my head. But what's so wrong with staying here instead? Hustle through the race with nothing to show. My tired eyes look desperate. I know, is this all get ahead of a charade? A song and dance to forget the plans I've made. I feel like I'm always on trial here, justifying what's never clear. I mean, what good does that do? And what am I trying to prove? So I'll just paint on my happy face and clown around, waiting for who knows, putting on a show. I'll never have to wonder where I'm going next, 'cause I'd say anywhere is just as good as here. And maybe, just baby, Mr. Get Thou will appear. Ooh, yeah, sure, it'll all work out. Yeah, sure, the light, the tenor, the yada yada yada. Yeah, sure, slow and steady wins the race. But I mean, what's so wrong with winning second place? Any minute I'll make it weird, put my foot in my mouth. That's how it always works out. I ask myself, is it worth it to sit around waiting for it to hold? Is it all a show? And everybody asks me where I'm going next. Well, I'd say anywhere is just as good as here. And maybe, just baby, Mr. Get Thou will appear. And I just might stay here instead.
There we go, Frankie Raye.
Thank you.
And once again, that's a single that Frankie released recently, so you can get information about it. Just go to her website, and there's links from her website to that song. By the way, now do you perform by yourself or with the band?
Both. I mostly perform by myself because a lot of the little restaurants and coffee shops just don't have the space to accommodate a big banging band. But there are some venues around here where they have a giant stage and they like it loud and fast and hard. And those are such great shows to just get all my energy out. I actually had one this past weekend down in a little town called Apollo Beach. And I mean, we had people dancing. We actually have kind of a following there now. Like, we were setting up and this big group of people came in and they're like, yeah, we came here for you guys. And, you know, and it's really it's energetic. And I forget how tired I get when I do those shows. Like, it's like I'm done loading things out and I sit in the car. I'm like, you know, and for solo shows, I do, you know, sometimes 2 of them in one day, and I don't get as as exhausted, but it's just, you got to keep the energy going, and it's one song right after the next. There's not a lot of time to really banter and talk. And when I do my solo shows, I sometimes take time to still tell stories in between or talk to people, and it's a lot more low key. So they're both amazing, just different, apples and oranges.
Frankie Raye, I want to thank you so much for being with me here today.
Thank you.
Check out Frankie's website, frankieraye.com, and take it from there. You'll love her music if you listen to her album. She's got a great voice, and the album is very well produced. Frankie, have a great afternoon.
You too. Absolutely. I'll see you around.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Climb to the top with me.